bit darker.
It'll correct. Just wait.
Okay.
Where will we see the people joining? On the attendees?
We won't.
Oh no,
We
no, you
won't.
can't.
You can't.
So yeah, we are live now.
Perfect.
Hello everyone. Thanks for joining for today's talk. My name is Nishan and I'm the host for today's event. In today's event, we'll talk about the entrepreneurial opportunities in the blockchain space. The panelists for today's event are Saeed Darmaki and Catran. Saeed is currently focused on advising blockchain startups and traditional businesses on utilizing blockchain technology. He also has immense experience in managing crypto and blockchain asset portfolios. He has previously worked as a specialist for Abu Dhabi Investment Authorities for 9 years. Tal is a prominent figure in the global innovation ecosystem. He has founded 14 startup accelerators since 2012 in both Israel and abroad, and it has rendered him the title of Accelerators Guru. He serves as the advisory board member in various companies and technology startups, mainly in cybersecurity, IT, retail, drones, homeland security, and others. So before starting the event, let me make a couple of announcements. First, if you have any questions for the speakers, you can type them in the chat box or the question box present on the right-hand side of your screen. If you wish to contribute to the discussion, you can press the raise hand button to unmute yourself and come on stage. You'll be able to talk directly to the speakers. In light of this, I would like to quote an ancient proverb. He who asks a question is a fool for 5 minutes. He who does not ask is a fool forever. So with that in mind, let's begin. So Saeed, my first question to you. You have immense experience as an investor and a venture capitalist. You've worked for a long time with Abu Dhabi Investment Authority and your own company, now Alphabet Digital Currency Fund. You explore blockchain products and invest in them. So tell us more about your experience. How do you analyze a project or a startup, and how do you deem something as worth investing?
Sure, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of different ways to answer that question, and there's a lot of different variables, a lot of different factors, a lot of different things to consider. But I think mainly when I'm looking at the startup who are trying to pitch for investment, the first thing I would say I look at is the idea, to see if the idea is something that actually solves a problem or not. And if there would be a demand for that, if there was a product or service related to that idea, if it would be generating enough demand to sustain a successful business in the short run and in the long run as well. After you see the idea and if it looks good and there's potential, then you obviously have to assess the team. You have to talk to the founders. Find out, how they've reached the idea, how they plan to execute on the idea, and what resources they have and what they have, if they have also put in any resources from their own, pocket, and if they put in their own time and effort and money into it, then that's a good sign. Also, it helps if the team has some good experience in what they're trying to achieve in the business. So if they have a related kind of experience, that helps as well. So you look at the idea, you look at the team, you look at the business model. If you think that the business can generate enough revenue to sustain the business for the long term, then that's also a very good thing. Then also, obviously, you have to look at, you have to do your due diligence and do some research on the team and to make sure that they actually, if they say they have some backing already from certain investors, then you want to double check with these investors to make sure that actually what they're saying is true, and ask your network about the actual team and the project, and if other people think that it's something that's good as well, not just your own opinion, get the opinion of other people as well to help with making a decision. So I think that's mainly just common sense, common logic. I think it's very difficult to judge if a startup will be successful or not. Not everybody has a crystal ball to predict if something will be profitable or not. But you can mitigate the risk, and you can do a lot of research to before you decide on investing or not. So I think doing a lot of research and talking to the team and making sure the business is viable goes a long way into making sure that at least you have a good chance of making a return on your investment.
Nishan, if I can relate on that, I think that Saeed almost covered everything. Hello, everyone. First of all, glad to be here and share with you some of my experience. I will be looking at also what Saeed mentioned. We are trying to look on the issue from sides of investors, but let's change roles and say I'm a startup and I'm reaching out to Saeed. First of all, I'm reaching out to a person, and I'm a person. When people think technology or startups, they think technology. They don't think people. Startups are people. Before anything else, startups are people. And this is when investors are also people. So it's a discussion between people. And I need to persuade a person, not a machine, that what I'm doing, is something of relevance, that I'm capable, I will deliver on my word. And I think that by now that 96% at least of startups don't make it first year. So, I mean, you're starting in a very bad starting position, if you want. And now you reach out to people who see startups by kilo, by liter, all the time. So how can we judge between them? Of course, is we look for someone who is a professional that knows the market, that can not just say, I will deliver. Show me something tangible. Show me proof you can deliver. Don't reach out to an investor before you validated your idea. What do you think? You're going to waste my time? Go validate. I don't expect you to show me even a business plan if your technology is not validated. On what did you exactly write? On what you based your program, your plan, if you did not validate? So this is when startups, they need money. I need the money. I need the money. Well, if this is the case, validate quickly. Startups spend a lot of time. They really waste time getting to the market. Get yourself to the market as quickly as you can. Validate, then reach out. I don't need your paying customer. I just need a customer, a first adopter, someone I can speak business with and say, am I the only crazy person who thinks it's a great startup, or do you believe in the technology as well and be willing to be a customer? And that's it, okay? So everything is in a way, when you listen to this, sounds very simple. Simple is difficult. Simple is complex. But this is my first call out, and I agree with Saeed 1,000,000,000%. Deliver on what you say. Be focused. You're a startup. So you can have a one problem with a one solution. Don't give me a list. Don't give me byproducts. Show me a one thing and a one thing. Then show me you are capable to develop your technology. If you have a great idea and that's it, you're going nowhere. If you don't have yourself this technical partner, the techie guy that knows how to develop it, not all the technology, and MVP is good enough, but a crucial part of it, and then you have reached the market, this shows capability. On this I can trust. And just remember, I'm giving you my money, my family's money, okay? People who trusted me with their money, okay? It's not just mine. And this is what you have to have in mind to begin with. Thank you.
Definitely. That's great, Tal and Saeed both. Execution is the key. Everyone can talk, but not everyone can work. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So my next question, again, related to financing opportunities for startups. Now, again, as you guys pointed out, that due to fierce competitions, turning profits for startups is a major challenge. And of course, more than 90% of startups don't make it beyond their first year. And not everyone has deep enough pockets to go on for years without making money. So what would be your advice to entrepreneurs in this regard? What are the strategies they can employ to manage their finances prudently to ensure they just don't run out of money?
That's a great
Amazon, I'd like to take the case of Amazon. The company did not turn profit for more than first 15 years of its existence. Yet, because of their because of the market strategy, they survived with investors' money for such a long time. So, what would be your advice to entrepreneurs in this regard?
Great question, Nishan. I'll probably take the first go at answering that. And I would say that budget is key. I think you have to budget for what you expect to be your costs. Like you said, profit is not, if you're a startup, you shouldn't be thinking, oh, I'm going to make a profit in a year or 2 years or 3 years. You should be looking at how I can sustain my business by at least covering my fixed costs that I know are always going to be there every month or every year, and I need to cover those costs. So you have to budget for that. When you go out to, firstly, I think before you actually go and raise money from investors, you should actually first be bootstrapping your business, putting in some of your own money. Because if you go to an investor and you tell him, okay, I want to raise money from you, and the investor asks you and he says, okay, how much money have you put in from your own pocket? And if you say, I haven't put anything in, then, like you haven't put your own skin in the game, right? So why would somebody else put money in something that you haven't put any money in? So I think first and foremost, put some money, invest some of your own money into your startup, into your business. Secondly, after you've put in your own money and you've bootstrapped it and you've started it, then you need to approach your close network of family and friends to try and support your startup. That's the first step. And then once you have some customers and you have some kind of revenue, no matter how small it is, then you can go out there and talk to investors and say, hey, look, I put in my own money. I've raised this amount of money already. There's a minimum viable product. This idea works. It solves a problem. But now I want to expand and make my business grow, and I want to use your money to actually grow the business, so that on a later stage, if I can make some profit, then I can give you some return on your investment. But I think budgeting and having a very cautious budget as well, that will keep you going for at least 1 to 2 years with the amount of money that you've raised, and using that money wisely is definitely goes a long way.
I would like to add and say that, first of all, when you're looking for money, first of all, we know where you can find money. Probably not in your bank account. There is no money. Okay, let's start there. Then you go to the FFF, your friends and family, not to say the world foolish, because if they invest in you, they have no sense. And then what happens is your uncle calls your mother and say, well, your smart son called me and I gave him money. And he promised me within 4 months he's going to return. We're now a year after. I don't want to talk to you anymore. So be careful of that. And by the way, people, when you talk to friends and family, they don't acquire too much. Probably they don't know much about the technology or anything. They just trust you. And you need to understand it's a lot about trust. We will touch about blockchain in a minute. It's about trust, not different. Whatever you do with friends, with business, with blockchain, it's about trust. So money you can find, as we say, with angel investors. They will write the first check. We know it's the 50K to 150, maybe 200K. That's it. This is where you stop with the angels. Then they can group up, of course, and bring you more. But then there is a gap, because VCs, they will bend to the 750, probably the 1 million and above. So reaching to them would be maybe, again, too early. CVCs, that's a long way when you talk to the corporate. By the way, and Saeed hinted, when he say, put your money where your mouth is, how about you go to the bank? Go to the bank and get money. What's the problem for entrepreneurs to do that? They say, hey, Tal, the problem is the bank, I need to return the money. And I'm saying, what about me? Oh, no, you're an angel investor. You risk your money. Really? Why am I stupid? So if you're so smart, you want my money? Take a small portion from the bank. Know that you need to return it. Know that when you take steps and you take, decision based on my money, I need you to think that if you're losing, at least there will be someone that you need to owe back. So it's no trick, and there is no, no magic here to say where money is coming from. So when you know where money can come from, and it changes. By the way, you can negotiate with the bank the same way as you negotiate with an angel investor and with a VC. You negotiate, but all of them will like to see that you are capable. And capable is not to say your name and not to come with a neat name for a startup. That's not where we're aiming. We want to see team, and we want to see technology. And before you have this, anything that you would do, as Saeed said, bring the money yourself. Yes, I need to show. By the way, the fact that you put your time, your effort, okay, is not something I don't value. Don't be mistaken. But if you think that out of my money, the first thing that you tell me, by the way, I didn't take a salary for 2 years, I think it's like $100,000. This is what I'm going to take it from your investment. Excuse me? You're taking what from where? No. You got it all wrong. By the way, well, up until now for 2 years, I didn't take salary. Now I want to earn $5,000 a month. From whose money? My money? Who's going to earn $5,000? I don't take $5,000. What's wrong with you? I'm a CEO of a startup. Really? You may be a CEO of a nice idea, okay, with a lot of problems to deliver, with no contacts and network. So you're not impressing me. It's about being also connected to planet Earth, not flying 80,000 feet in the air thinking that the sun shines from I don't know where. This is what we want to see. Speak to the point. State what you have to say in a clear way. Yes, you need to be able to be charismatic. You need to deliver your business in a way that, I sit there and say, wow, amazing. You like covered everything. You know your competition, you know the market, you know what it's going to do. I see cash flow. You don't have cash flow. You're a startup. Never mind. But still, you know where you're going. If I'm asking you, where's your target market? And you say USA, and I say, okay, interesting. So what is your marketing budget to penetrate into US? And you say, $50,000, run away. I'm going to throw my shoe at you. $50,000 is air travel of 3 months. That's not marketing budget. Okay? Maybe $500,000 would impress me. This is where we see that aside from the fact you don't have all the experience, you didn't even investigate. You didn't explore. You didn't speak to people asking them. You don't know even my sweet spot. You don't know where to touch me to get engaged. So one thing is to know where the money is. There is no secret. Google it. By the way, in Israel, we have an angel list. It's an Excel sheet open on the internet. You can see all the investors, angels, VCs, everything is there. But reaching out to them, that's a whole different story. So everyone wants the list like they find treasure. In reality, you found nothing. It's empty shell. If you don't know how to behave yourself, if you don't know how to conduct your business, by God, I can tell you, I hope you can do technology. I have no doubt you lack business and managerial skills. This is where we are here for, to help, because I don't know to do technology, I know to do business. This is where you engage with your investor. Show respect. When you tell him, I will deliver on the 29th, you better deliver on 29th. If not, 29th, the month before, you're going to call him and say, excuse me. Because you don't expect penalties. You expect us to pat you on the head and say, good for you. Just good for you for trying. Well, if you do that with my money, this is the first time you understand that when you said, I'm not going to be working for someone else, I will be working for myself, and you took $1 from someone, you're starting to work for someone. Forget about independent anymore. Get this into your skulls. Thank you.
Thank you, Tal. That was great. That was awesome. So definitely establishing trust is the key here. And you have to establish trust with your investors, your consumers. Only then you'll be able to secure funding and grow. So now let's shift our focus to blockchain specifically. Let's talk about the effect of pandemic. So definitely the pandemic has forced the world to make a digital transition and transformation, which is certainly a boost for blockchain technology as well. So, in light of this, what are the opportunities you guys see for entrepreneurs here to take advantage of this digital transformation of businesses? Who would like to go first?
Yeah, I
The
think
master, Mr. Saeed.
the opportunity,
Sure.
I think, is with the pandemic. I'm sure it's a crisis, and it has negative effects. But I think it's also positive in that nowadays, if you're a startup, people wouldn't expect you to travel to different countries or attend different conferences, or actually you're cutting back on these kind of costs because you can easily just jump on a Zoom call with any potential investors or consumers or clients, and you can just talk to them on a Zoom call for half an hour, and the result is just as effective as meeting somebody in person. So I think, in terms of the pandemic, I think it's been great for tech in general, blockchain technology included. But I think it's been also a good thing for entrepreneurs to actually, because there's now new problems that have come out because of the pandemic. So now it's a chance for entrepreneurs to come up with ideas to solve these new kind of problems that are coming up. So it's there's opportunities there, and where there's a crisis, there's an opportunity, I believe. And if you do your right homework, and if you find all the problems that have come out and the new demand that comes out of these kind of new problems, then I think there's always opportunities to explore, and there's always new startups that can be coming out of these situations. And I think some people say that actually the biggest companies nowadays are the companies that came out of the financial crisis in 2006, 2007, 2008. Those are when the biggest companies nowadays started. So I think it's something that somebody should think about, and not just be gloom and doom and despair, and know that there's always opportunities. Investors aren't going anywhere, even though they're staying at home. You can still talk to them on a phone call or on a Zoom call, and everybody's reachable. Doesn't matter that there's a pandemic. With the technology that we have, we can easily access people and communicate with people in different ways.
Again, I concur, I second that. And I want to say that startups, well, as a startup, you are very accustomed to live what we call uncertainty, foggy times. Nothing is clear for startups. Everything is difficult for them. Well, for the first time ever, startups are now welcoming the world to their world. They say to the world, hey, humanity, now you feel how I feel day to day, when I don't know what will happen in an hour, let alone next day. So when you ask me as an investor, what do you vision will be where will you be in a year? I don't know where I will be tomorrow. Well, now humanity knows we don't know where we're going to be in an hour. So in this sense, okay, there is clarity right now that startups, if you call yourself a startup, you should be super agile. You're super light. You may be 2, 3, 4 people, not more than that. You're not a big company. You don't take long for decisions. Everything is short. You need to move. You need to adjust. Well, there is a new normal now right now. It's already here, by the way. I have a lecture called The Exit Strategy of Startups, or The Day After. Welcome to the day after. It started already. And the day after is to say exactly as Saeed said, as that, first of all, we have gone light years ahead with the digital. Is the fact that you need to pivot on your startup. Yes, I know travel tech is dead, but blockchain is alive. I know that other things, I don't know, education, they call it remote education. I don't think having a laptop, a Wi-Fi, and a PowerPoint presentation qualifies as remote education. It's remote rubbish. There is no education right now in the world. And you know what? I don't know if that's such a big thing, but again, opens a great opportunity, by the way, also for blockchain. The big problem that we see right now is trust. And we know blockchain from the beginning is all about trust. Everything is transparent. We know who touched it. We know where it started, where it ended. Well, see what's going on right now. It's the fact that when you have COVID, no one is really certain about where it originated, but what's going on, what's about it. Everything is trial and error. A country copies from another country. Now the issue is that countries don't trust one another, let alone the citizens don't trust their government, because no one has the right exit strategy. Israel was the first to bounce out in April, is now deep inside second wave, now trying to, starting after 3 weeks of lockdown, to come out of that. I talked to 4 different countries in Europe just this past 2 days. Everyone is following Israel now. They are locking themselves down because that's the only way to go. But in Israel, that opened its lockdown 2 days ago, already speaks citizens speak about third wave. Why? Because we don't see the plan. We don't see what's going on right now. We don't understand what changed that brought the second wave. The third wave will not come. So when there is so much uncertainty, so much mistrust, this is where you give the stage now to blockchain. Because with blockchain, well, you know everything. Everything is secured. You know each and every station, every stop the transaction is doing. By the way, when you Google right now and you hear and you want to read about COVID, you will find, starting with there is a big problem with COVID, up to there is no COVID in the world. Who is right? Who should I believe? Blockchain, no issue. I know exactly who to believe. I see the data. It's about the data that runs. So we started with the fact that I cannot trust. Now I cannot trust what? Information, data. Blockchain changed this. This is now where blockchain, that most people, you say blockchain, they say Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's crypto. We're talking blockchain. And you're going to see blockchain going into every sector in our lives the more we go. That's now is blockchain time. If you want to ask me where you want to be right now, develop blockchain. Whatever you develop, everyone will listen, because this is your time. We will speak, of course, in a minute about the crypto, where this is going, or the DeFi, where this is going. We will speak about it. But for now, again, be clear and understand where there is a crisis, there is an opportunity, but it's just words. It needs you to do the transformation from opportunity to action, to the doing. If you will sit like this, believe me, nothing will happen. Even if the biggest opportunity fall into your lap, you need to do something about it. And instead of being despaired, instead of saying, oh my God, my business is ruined. And by the way, I'm sure some of our audience don't have startups. Some of them are employees somewhere. Well, if you are now being put home, sent out of the office, and you're under lockdown, and you say to yourself, well, I hope I have a job. Well, this is one worry. How about calling your manager and saying, hey, is the business okay? Can I do something? Well, I heard these 2 guys on a panel gave me some idea. I think we can do something new with the business. This is how you make progress. This is an action item. Not just praying to God that you will have a job. By the way, when you pray to you for you to have a job, you understand that the company needs to stay alive. If the company needs to stay alive, how about you contribute to the company staying alive? Not your money, your brain power, your idea, your creativity. Get engaged with your manager. See what's going on. Make a pool of employees and try to push from wherever you can. This is how you translate the opportunity into action.
Thank you, Tal. Thank you, Saeed. That was a great answer, both of you. Definitely, these are quite uncertain times, and with uncertainty comes opportunity, as Tal pointed out. So, to quote Green Day, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. There will be some people who will fall. There are some people who will rise. If you're not doing anything, you're just giving the opportunity to other people and giving them an opportunity to rise above you. So, in light of this, Tal and Saeed, there will be some losers and some winners emerging out of this pandemic. So who do you think, what kind of people, what kind of companies are going to lose, and who are going to win? What's your say on that?
I think for me, I think the winners are going to be those types of companies or startups that are able to adapt. You know the saying, adapt or die. So if you don't adapt, your business is going to die. If you do adapt and you do think of new ways of doing things or doing things in a better way, then I think your chances of surviving are much, much more improved. And if you see that your main source of revenue, for example, is declining, you have to find out the source of that decline and why that's happening. When you go to the root of the problem and you figure out, okay, this is why our revenue is going down, then you think of an alternative solution that will fix that issue, and so that you are able to generate revenues in a different way. There's no harm in pivoting. They say, like, as a startup, as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to pivot your business in the right direction. So if you see that your business is going in the wrong direction, even though maybe when you started it was the right direction, but because of a change in your environment, change in your customers' habit, change in conditions around you, that direction is no longer valid, then you need to be brave enough to say, okay, I need to I need to do something about this. What is the best way to solve this issue? And set into that new direction and be 100% behind it, and confident that you can achieve what you set out to achieve, even if it means pivoting to a completely different business direction. There's no harm in that, as long as there is a valid reason in doing so. So I think those things you have to consider.
I
Thank you.
absolutely concur, of course. I agree. And it's about who is going to do it first, or who is going to do it quickly. And by the way, newsflash, things happen for a reason. By the way, not all the time the reason is you. But you should ask yourself, what's my role? What's my part in what's happening right now? And the day-to-day, well, you used to wake up, take a bath, take coffee, run to office, come back, I don't know what. That ended. Okay, I did not wear shoes for half a year now. I don't know which hole to put my leg into, okay? No need. I'm now here. I'm talking to the world, as I've been doing. This is like, I don't know, over 30 times I'm doing these webinars. And I'm telling you, have a schedule. No reason to wake up in noon being a potato catcher and say, oh my God. It ain't helping anything. Have yourself a schedule. Stop getting fat. Do some sport, okay? Speak to people. Speak to your managers, speak to your workers, give them motivation, take responsibility, okay? Pivot, twist. I don't know, I don't say, invent yourself new every second, but get something going. Sitting and waiting for something to fall into your lap doesn't do much and probably will not happen to most of you. The thing is, what can I do different? And I need to adapt, because this is not going back anymore. You heard, Microsoft will not be bringing her workers to office anymore. Twitter is out of office. No more office space. Okay, so we need to adjust. Travel, I don't know when we will fly again. Yeah, but am I into travel tech? So what? Tough for you. Go to blockchain. I don't know. Invent a new cryptocurrency. I don't know. Do something. And by the way, companies compete. Startups unite. So I hope, and I see over 100 people are here with us. I hope, I don't look at the chat right now, but instead of looking at the chat and thinking what kind of question I'm going to ask, why don't use it to introduce yourself and say, hey, I do this. I want to offer this. Maybe someone can help me and take something from me, and I want to give something back. And the chat is dead, and I don't get it. Why don't you use it? Why don't you? By the way, Saeed and myself, we are quite renowned. I mean, Google us. We are all over. But who knows who are you exactly? And instead of taking this opportunity, you're quiet. And quiet gets you nowhere. You cannot pay your groceries with kisses and hugs and keep quiet. You want to do something? Put yourself out there. Think what you can do, not things that you cannot do. Keep optimistic, Keep yourself in the picture. By the way, if you haven't touched your computer, if you did not write a line of code in 6 months, that's not something to be proud of. It's to say, I don't know, the opposite. Okay? Get going.
Thank you, Tal. That was great advice. That was great advice for all of us. And now let's shift our focus to cryptocurrencies. I see we have a question by Mr. Hirak. So let's address that question first. Hirak asks, what is the reason for Bitcoin to be controversial in the past, even though it is built using blockchain, which is considered very secure otherwise? So would you guys like to answer this?
Sure, yeah, of course. So the reason why the controversy was around Bitcoin in the past is, firstly, like when Bitcoin first actually became mainstream is because of its use in Silk Road that I can remember. And so obviously Bitcoin was being used for the wrong reasons, or to buy illicit or illegal things, or pay for things that are illegal, etc. So that's why it had the controversy around it. But I think that was actually a very good thing for Bitcoin, because that's when most mainstream people heard about Bitcoin. But then if you look at the actual technology behind Bitcoin, it's very, very revolutionary, and it has so many benefits. It's not just so cryptocurrencies, and Bitcoin is one use case of blockchain technology. There are so many use cases that are coming out of blockchain technology, specifically mostly in financial services sector, but there's so many use cases that are coming out now that it's foolish for actually organizations and businesses and established companies and governments not to consider using the technology, which solves a lot of problems that are coming out these days. So I think that controversial past has actually been good for Bitcoin. And I think that even nowadays people question Bitcoin, saying, oh, hackers, they hack a government or an organization system, and they say pay me in Bitcoin. Well, I mean, what they're saying, people are using Bitcoin for money laundering, etc. But actually, if you look at the US dollar or any other fiat currency, there's even way more use of that currency for the wrong reasons, and people using it for the wrong reasons. So I think it's not a question of the currency, it's the technology behind it. And I think the technology behind it has far more benefits than negative aspects to it.
Tal, you're on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
I want to say that I think I don't go too much into why it was thought this way, but more to say that we saw the market plummets in February. I think in March it was already Bitcoin dropped 25% out of the 180 or 200 billion, worth of Bitcoin. It dropped, and then came August, and we are soaring. Bitcoin is soaring. So you see, it takes time to get the understanding. I will give another example because of COVID. We people, we are a social animal. We need to hug, we need to kiss. You see, everyone is crying. Hey, I didn't visit him, I didn't see him, I need to socialize. It's a big issue with us. By the way, if we will be under lockdown for 2 years, probably most people would like to socialize less. So what happened with the money is that, we all ran from whoever was in Bitcoin and Ethereum and all this to fiat and thought, yes. Then you saw that plummet. Everyone was buying gold. Money was down. Money is still down. Look at the stock exchange, still down. And all of a sudden, out of this mist, crypto is soaring. So there's an understanding right now that we are going digital, that we want to cut most or all the middlemen take them out of the picture. Trust issue, as I mentioned again, I don't know whom to trust right now. And by the way, I don't see my bank doing anything for me right now when I'm sitting at home. So why should I trust them? Why should I let them, get a cent out of my money? Where do I look for? I look for crypto. This is what's happening right now. and it's going to continue on. Yes, fluctuation. Every currency has fluctuation. You can say, well, people say, COVID is like a little severe flu. So there is something that we take as granted, something that we know, flu. Only difference is that we have vaccine for flu. We don't have for COVID. God knows when we will have. Look at crypto the same way. We all know fiat. We all know gold. Okay, and then in the middle there is something that fluctuates, but you see it's holding up. Everyone was expecting, I think, something else, including crypto. But now the cycle, the wheel, is changing towards up. I'm not here to say anything. I have one Bitcoin. If you want to ask me, I have one. I have no Ethereum. Just a souvenir. I want to hang it on my necklace here. Nothing more. But I am seeing the trend. Do you ask me if I do something about it tomorrow? Probably not. But I'm at least starting to follow. It's becoming interesting. And as Saeed said, crypto, blockchain. Two different things, yes? Not to mix. Yes, we see the closeness, the resemblance, but one on top of the other. So regardless what it was, it's more important what it is. And you should definitely all follow it.
Thank you, Tal. That was great. To add on to what you said, I'd like to pose another reason. So the reason Bitcoin is controversial is that it encroaches upon the sovereign powers of the government. You see, the government or the monarch of the country has been in control of the currency since time immemorial. This has been the trend so far. Now, when you introduce Bitcoin, which is not controlled by the government, it threatens them. There's a proverb in Hindi, "Kiska sikka chalta hai," which roughly translates to one who controls the currency rules the country. So the governments, of course, don't want to lose their sovereign power over the currency to Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. So that's why it's mainly considered controversial. I hope that answers your question. We have another question from the audience. This is by Shivani. So she asks, apart from data integrity, how verification of information takes place when we enter into blockchain technology? So this is kind of technical question. Saeed, would you like to answer?
Sure, yeah. So verification of information or verification of a transaction or verification of a smart contract on blockchain technology happens when each and every one of these transactions and smart contracts is verified by what we call miners. So the miners are actually so what's happening with mining is, if you're a miner, why do you mine cryptocurrency or why do you mine Bitcoin? You mine it to get the reward for solving or verifying all the transactions on the network. So every time because there's a cryptographic puzzle with each block that needs to be solved, and at the moment it takes like really extremely high processing power to be able to verify transactions on the Bitcoin network, because each block is more difficult than the previous one, because you have to verify every single block that's happened before the current one, and then you have to solve the puzzle, and then you can get the reward for solving that cryptographic puzzle. But the verification happens automatically and is incentivized by the process of mining cryptocurrencies. So that's how, the information that's contained within blocks, that could be just numbers, or it could be a actual smart contract which has different terms and conditions, and if those terms and conditions are met, then that block is verified, that smart contract is verified, and the parties in that smart contract get their payments or what have you that's actually needs to be exchanged. So that in that way, it's a transparent, trustless way of verifying all the data that is within the blocks that need to be verified. That's why it's called blockchain, because it's blocks of information that are linked by a chain, and that chain can't be broken because every single block in that chain has to correspond with the, what's happened previously. So it's a chain of events that have to be verified, and you know that it's actually every single block that's verified is 100% correct, and all the miners globally will verify that yes, this information is correct, this smart contract is valid, or this person has this amount of crypto, etc. So that's how you know. You don't have to trust a bank, and you can see on the network how it's been verified, where it's been verified, and the parties involved in that. Although maybe you won't see names attached to it, but you will see addresses and wallets associated with those transactions.
I would recommend people to share this crash course with their friends. There is no one who can explain it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. That was a great answer. Shivani, I hope you're satisfied with the answer. So next, I want to ask you guys about the central bank digital currencies. So we have the central bank digital currencies coming up, where central banks control the currency which employs the blockchain technology. Now, China is a prime example for this. They've launched their own digital currency known as digital yuan. Now, more and more countries are exploring these. So now, in a world where we have independent cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, you have traditional fiat currencies like the dollar and the dirham, and you have central bank digital currencies like the digital yuan. Don't you think it will get very messy here? I strongly feel that at least one of these things have to go. What is your opinion on this? Do you think all these three types of currencies can they survive together? And if yes, why? If not, then who will be eliminated?
I think all three can coexist in good harmony, for sure. There's always going to be people who would rather use cryptocurrencies. There'll be people who would rather use fiat currencies like paper money or coins. And there'll be people like the younger generation who would prefer to have a central bank digital currency or a stable coin where they know that it's pegged to a certain fiat currency. Because ultimately, the only difference between a central bank digital currency and fiat currency is they're both issued by a central bank. Both fiat and central bank digital currencies are issued by a central bank. The only difference is that central bank digital currencies have more advantage over fiat currencies in that if you are a central bank, it actually gives you a lot more control and transparency over what's happening with this central bank digital currency. So when you're setting monetary policy as a central bank, with fiat currency, you have to do a lot of guesswork, and also you have to wait for data to come through before you judge if your specific policy that you implemented 3 months ago is actually effective. Whereas with a central bank digital currency, you can see the flow of the digital currency second by second live, and you can see the effect of the policies that you've put in place, because it will affect both the fiat and the digital currency in the same way, because it's all linked to the central bank. So I think they'll all exist at the same time. Cryptocurrencies are always going to be there. Fiat currencies will always be there. Central bank digital currencies will be there. It's just the proportion of each will vary over time. So I think what you see, for example, is before cryptocurrencies came in place, it was 100% fiat. Nowadays, maybe like say it's about 75% fiat, 25% cryptocurrencies. Maybe in a year's time, it will be 60% fiat, 30% cryptocurrency, 10% central bank digital currencies. So it's always going to be there. All three are always going to coexist, but in changing ratios and changing amounts over time. And I think over time, cryptocurrencies and central bank digital currencies will have more of that ratio over time.
I agree, and I want to say that the fact that there are more and more alternatives of using money is the essential part. I mean, most of the people, even here, don't really use crypto. I'm not doing a vote here, but probably that's the case. It is still in very, very small numbers. And yes, some of it is reputation, some of it is because of not knowing, but we see changes happen. And I think there is a reason why China came out with this. And if we all agree that crypto relating to blockchain creates trust, and we know where China is right now, we understand what's behind it. Still, the fact that you can use some of it, as Saeed said, makes you feel, more confident that tomorrow morning your money is not gonna disappear. And again, it's about how much you trust it. If you were to tell me that aside from the coin itself, behind it, there is also AI that learns my habits and corrects me right now during COVID, understand not to spend money, to cut on expenses, buy less, but buy what I need, not as before. And there is kind of a AI that tells me, hey, what's up with you? Not just my bank that wants me to spend. Banks right now are offering loans like crazy. Like they don't care. Just take a loan. Just say a number, take money from me. This is where it's going. But the coin itself, you see, doesn't stand by itself. It has blockchain alongside it. And I think options, as we said, and hopefully new financial tools will be created. And as we say, this is a conference about opportunities. So Saeed just showed you the opportunity. Let's see who takes it.
Thank you. So I have a follow-up question in this regard. I am a little apprehensive about these independent cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and all, because I feel that they can be used as a tool for economic warfare between countries. Because independent cryptocurrencies are not controlled by the government of the country. Now, if in a scenario where the country warms up to Bitcoin, the people are using Bitcoin in their daily transactions, but it is an aspect of monetary policy which is not controlled by the government. So, say someone wants to play dirty, they dump Bitcoins in your country. That can cause inflation and all. So, I'm a little apprehensive about that. What would be your comments regarding that, Saeed?
I don't think I don't think that's a valid concern. I don't think there's nobody like you'd have to have a very very big amount of resources or a very big amount of fiat or a very big amount of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. If you're talking about Bitcoin, for example, to affect the price of Bitcoin, you would have to, you'd have to have tens or if not hundreds of millions of dollars to actually
Yes. Saeed, I'm talking about countries here, not individuals. If a country wants to play dirty, they can perhaps do it. What's a few $1 million for a country?
Yeah, but how would they play dirty? Because Bitcoin is a global currency. I think if one country wants to attack another country in terms of economic warfare or such, then Bitcoin is not the right that's not the right avenue to do so. Because if they want to manipulate so that Bitcoin price goes down, it will go down in every single country, including their own. So what happens in one country happens in every single country. It's a global market. Bitcoin is a global market, whereas a dollar is, if you have a dollar, it's how much you can spend in the US or in another country that accepts dollars. But Bitcoin is global. So I think there's no concern for me there in terms of countries trying to bring the price down or put the price up to benefit them, because ultimately it's not going to benefit them. It's only going to benefit or put the people who own Bitcoin or have invested in Bitcoin, and it's not going to affect countries as such.
Okay.
I say let's find the cure for COVID before we worry about this. Relax, do some yoga, relax. Everything will be okay. That will not change the world, believe me. COVID will. So if you wanna, share about that, that is interesting.
Sure. That was a great answer, Saeed. So, yeah, my question was definitely too far-fetched. So, anyway, moving ahead, Tal and Saeed, you both have worked extensively with startups, and you know how the system works. You can kind of talk about one startup you've worked with or observed which did the right things and made big bucks, and one startup which messed up on its way to success and plunged to failure. So, two examples from each of you. Who would like to go first?
I think it would be unfair to give names of specific startups. But yes, I mean, there's been situations or startups that I've advised before in the past who have, I mean, it doesn't have to be listening to my advice, but listening to everybody's advice. Their customers can give advice, their advisors can give advice, their family or friends can give advice. There's a lot of different people that can give them advice. But if they don't listen to a single one, and if most of these people, 50% or more, are telling them to do something and they're doing the opposite, then there's something wrong. Then they're doing something wrong because they're either not listening to their customers, or they're not listening to their investors, or they're not listening to their advisors. So that's in probably like 99% of the startups that I've known or been involved in. If they don't listen to the majority of whoever is giving them advice, they more than likely will fail. And if they do actually take on board advice and opinions from their stakeholders, ultimately they will be successful. So I mean, I don't want to name names, but I've had cases where both have happened in more than one situation. So that's my take on it.
I think that startups, as we say, is a startup, as we say, is people, okay? And startups have this, I don't know, imagination that we as investors, it is very important for us to see how they push mountains. They need to, I will be persistent. You give me a target, I'm on it. I'm diving on live grenades. What are you, freaking out of your mind? Why would you dive on a grenade? Who asked you to push a mountain? You see a mountain, you bang your head once, and then you go around on above and do something. Impress me. Why do you want to impress me that you're stupid? So what I'm saying again is that startups, when they meet investors or they meet a crowd, the only thing that interests them is to spit on you their presentation. Wait, small talk. Ask me what I like to hear. Don't say to me, thank you for the question, it's in the next slide. No, I asked it now, so you answer now. Don't be a smart ass. Who are you? I know the business, and you want my money, and you are playing with me. You annoy me. You see, I'm getting angry just by telling it, because I see it so often. So you are not doing me a favor. Excuse me. Yeah, well, I will open my computer, but it's not the last draft of my presentation. So what the hell are you doing here? I mean, why are you saying this to me? You want to make me angry? Why did you come today if you're not ready? Well, I didn't know. Do I know you're not ready? Did I ask you if you're ready? Do I know that you changed something in the present? Why are you offering this information? Who asked you? So everything is like wrong with you guys until someone bangs you on the head. I advise you, go to my YouTube, see how many people are crying there. This is how we should start. We need to reboot you. This is what we do. Saeed does it a billion times a day. I may be doing it less. Reboot. Get yourself on the right page. Be aware who you entered the room with. Be aware who is with you. Be attentive. You are not there to speak presentation and speak endlessly. You are not impressing anyone. Listen. When an investor starts speaking, you shush. You listen. This is how you learn. First of all, maybe he has this golden advice that doesn't matter how much money he can offer you, but his advice could be priceless. This is how Saeed is telling you. Listen to us. Listen to experience. See how you can connect. By the way, when I ask startups, tell me what you do, the first thing they do is they spit out the solution. Wait, how about talk about the problem first? Maybe I don't relate to the problem. Well, I have something to do with buses. I swear to God, the last time I was on a bus, it was like 40-something years back. You want to relate buses to me? I don't understand buses. So why are you speaking to me? I don't relate to the problem. Maybe you should explain different. Maybe you should say, oh, so you have nothing to do with the problem? No, sorry, I don't. So don't go on, because then you would like me to sign a non-disclosure, an NDA. I don't sign NDA. Who the hell are you? I will sign NDA. My job is to see technology and startups. You want me to sign? I don't sign. So if you tell me the problem without the solution, and I say, well, interesting, maybe I will think about signing. But if I don't relate, why should you tell me the solution to a person that you don't even know? Maybe you know me for 5 seconds, which gives you the audacity to ask me in the end for $1 million without even blinking. Ask your parents for $1 million. If you're so brave, you will not. So what I'm saying again, be aware, be conscious, what you're doing. You don't wake up and do a presentation. You don't rush to somewhere, then enter the room and say, wow, I'm here. No. You get ready. You learn who I am. You're going to learn who you stand, who you're going to pitch to. Okay? Get yourself ready. Dress well. Smell well. Be attentive. Relax. Come into the room. By the way, you don't have to pull out your laptop. I did not come here to invest in PowerPoint. I don't have shares in Microsoft. I don't care how your presentation looks. I want to hear you. I'm doing business with you. The transaction is simple. I'm giving money. I'm getting equity. That's a transaction, nothing more. So I'm investing not in your laptop, not in HP or Dell, not in Microsoft or Excel or Word. I invest in you. So I want you to be able to pitch to me half hour without getting your laptop out, without those eyes running. Oh my God, the presentation is not opening. That's bad. I don't invest in someone like this. I don't trust you with my money. It's that I don't care if it's Ethereum or the Chinese National Bank. I'm not giving you money. Get that into your skull. Okay, and it's easy because what I did just now is tell you everything is really in your hands, because up until now you said, I need help. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to ask. Well, you have my details. You have Saeed. You have Nishan. You have a great, great panel to see it over and over again, right? We get the recording, Nishan. We can look at this after, right? So yes. Good. Follow the right people. As Nishan said, as Saeed said, listen to us. Listen to experience. Don't wait for me to end the sentence and answer me. That's not thinking. This is just telling me, no, go on, finish. I need to answer. No, you don't need to answer. You need to listen, digest, okay? See if it fits you, and be smarter the minute you answer me. That's my spiel.
That was excellent. That was excellent, both Tal and Saeed. So I would like to reiterate your points here. So communication and listening is the key to both your professional life as well as personal life. It goes without saying. So I have one final question for you guys. It's about the peace. It's not exactly related to blockchain or anything. It's about the peace treaty recently signed between Israel, UAE, and Bahrain. So what are the opportunities presented here? What are the new opportunities for business people? The ties had been cut off since long time, and now starting to rehabilitate. And so, what are the opportunities for all the three countries here? What do you think?
Huge opportunities for all the countries. As soon as both governments said, okay, previously, you couldn't travel between the countries, you couldn't do business between the countries, but now once that door is open, people are now rushing through that door to exchange ideas, to do business together, to invest in each other, to talk to each other. There's just tremendous amounts of opportunities, and that's something that I think is very positive for all countries involved, and I'm very happy with the UAE government, the Israeli government, and the Bahraini government, and all the Middle Eastern countries out there. They should, this is a global world now. There's no borders. It's only physical. There's no digital borders now. Everybody has to do business with everybody else. It's hugely competitive out there now, and you need every single potential customer, every single potential investor, every single potential idea. We have to share ideas, we have to share investments, we have to encourage each other, and I think it's a global economy now. It's not just your own country's economy or another country's economy. We're all tied in together, and if we're united, it's better off for everybody in the ecosystem. So I think definitely very positive, and there's so much that has been done since this happened, and I think there's a lot more to come as well.
I, of course, agree 100%. I think that this panel is a good example, first of all, for people to see that when we cooperate, when Saeed and myself are here, and you see the join or the matching experience here, and you understand that Saeed speaks logic, I speak logic, that's between us right now, okay? Is that, of course, we can cooperate. And as Saeed said, it's now global village wherever you go. There are no more borders. We are people. None of us has been, brought up hating. It's the other way around, especially when it comes to business and money. And we say money doesn't have a smell. So we want to do business. And for sure, the business community now very struggling. I mean, economies worldwide are struggling. We see that. There is no time for anything else but to unite, but to cooperate as we do. And the fact that this, and I want to thank you, Nishan and Ermit, for giving us this opportunity to join hands between us, and jointly convey to you, one is our experience and knowledge and skills. Second is to offer you to reach out back to us. It was said yesterday on Israeli news that although there is only 1 month since the agreement, again, not is signed, but still not maybe fully implemented, is that near 500 Israeli companies have signed contracts in UAE. That's just a 1 month from beginning of this peace treaty. So we see, we were never in war. We were always great, but under the table. Now it's on the table, and we see more countries joining it. I think UAE was a great example, and I believe in leading by example, is to say enough. I don't care if you're Ethereum, if you're a Bitcoin, if you're a Chinese bank. We need to move the economy. Humanity needs to crawl out of this crisis. And when this helps, great, let's do it. Let's put all the nonsense aside for a minute and do that. And I think, again, I'm delighted. I know that people in Israel, and I heard from Saeed, same from UAE, are delighted about this. I was actually supposed to be last week on a plane to Dubai, but I will be on the next flight beginning of November, already doing business, already bridging, okay? But there is no much gap. Now is to deliver from both sides to make both economies stronger, and I hope the world will unite around these examples. Still, there are wars going on in the world, which I wish will end quickly. As we have a saying, no more war, no more bloodshed. Enough with this. Let's do business. It's between people, and you see that as an example right now. And again, I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, guys. That was a great answer. So I hope more countries will follow suit. You can, other countries in the region, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and all. I can see them rehabilitating relations with Israel. And from an Indian perspective, also, it's a great thing because India has good trade relations with both UAE and Israel. India is, of course, UAE's largest trading partner, and we also have excellent relations, diplomatic relations, strategic relations with Israel. And let's see how this works out for India as well. So I see we don't have any more questions from the audience members, so we can conclude the session now. Any concluding words, Tal, Saeed?
Thank you very much for having us on the panel. It was great to have a discussion with Tal and sharing ideas and sharing opinions, and I hope the audience has gained some good insights and maybe can use some of the things that were discussed to their advantage. And I hope people, technology and blockchain evolve and become stronger as a result of this pandemic. But I'm sure that things will get better soon enough. But this is just accelerated the importance of technology, and that digital technology is here to stay and will be more used. And I think people change their habits, and I believe that the new habits from using technology will persist, and for the better.
I want to say to, first of all, for the startups, turn your lemons into a lemonade. And the meaning is, if you were startups before COVID and you will come out of COVID alive and strong, it will say a lot about you, and it will say a lot about you to your workers, it will to your partners, as well as to your customers or future customers, and to your investors. Many will not survive. We see the numbers. They are horrific. But if you will come out of this and you will be able to tell your grandkids or the world that you made it alive, it says a lot about your resilience. And try and fixate yourself on that. That's the first. Second, as I said, stay optimistic. Show the community around you that you're versatile, that you're adaptive, that you know what's going on around you, and you adjust correctly. Cut on your expenses. Cut your expenses. Think 10 times before you spend a cent on anything. Try and find a way to keep your current customers going. Come up with new ideas, creative, out of the box. This is your time. When people told you 100 times that you need to think out of the box, this is the time that you really, really need to do it. Try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things, new jobs. Take your CV, dust it off, look on your LinkedIn, get ready. We don't know what will happen. We don't know how long this will last. Things are very dynamic. Get yourself dynamic as well. So get prepared. Be adaptive to the situation. I want to thank you, Nishan, for giving me this opportunity to air meet. I want to thank, of course, Saeed. It was, I mean, this is the beginning of a great friendship, I hope, and I look forward. I want to thank the audience for the great questions, and I hope you will get to see that again and again and again, to see a great example of how we will unite around startups, around opportunity, and let's go with the blockchain. Thank you.
All right.
Shalom.
All right. Thank you, Saeed and Tal, for taking time out of your busy schedules and sharing your insights with all of us. It was a fantastic, insightful, and thought-provoking session. We all learned a lot today. And I would like to thank all the audience members for patiently listening to us. I hope you all learned new things today. And with that, thank you. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a good